Hey everyone, I'm meteorologist Chris Mulkey with a 2 p.m. update on what is now Hurricane Dorian. So it's right around the British Virgin Islands, smack dab right over actually St. Thomas. Now at sustained winds at 75 miles per hour. This is still moving off towards the northwest at about 13 miles per hour, and it's going to continue that general motion over the next 2 to 3 days. But we're officially calling this Hurricane number 2 for the season. Barry did hit 75 miles per hour just before it made landfall in the southern parts of Louisiana. This one looks like it's going to get a whole lot stronger. Keeping an eye on Puerto Rico and those British Virgin Islands. Seeing the most recent estimated wind gusts at about 50 miles per hour, still rocking about 35 mile per hour gusts in the northern parts of Puerto Rico. But this is where the heart of the winds are going to be, right where you see this red here. It is going to be clearing the islands over the next couple of hours, and then we're still going to be keeping an eye on its intensity track. So the British Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, surrounding areas still under that hurricane warning because this is indeed a hurricane with wind gusts potentially getting up to 90 miles per hour. Meanwhile, the island of Puerto Rico, tropical storm warning. So the peak is pretty much happening right now, and then once it hits the open waters just off towards the north, once it's clear to continue off towards the northwest, that's why I think we're really going to see a change as far as that intensity goes. This is a lot more organized than what we saw for Barry for a hurricane number 2 so far this season. You could see the eye wall a lot better a few hours ago, but it is breaking up a little bit as it is crossing the islands. We're going to see that eye wall start to reform, I would say, over the next 12 to 18 hours, and then also we're going to see the size of this really start to grow in as far as its diameter is concerned. So keeping an eye on that eye wall, and boy, are we going to hit some rapid intensification over the coming days. So let's take a better look at this current track. As I mentioned, moving off towards the northwest at 13 miles per hour. Right now, the National Hurricane Center doesn't really have it intensifying all that much over the coming days. Still about 80 mile per hour winds by late tomorrow. I still think that it could be a little bit stronger at that point, but it looks like the sweet zone is going to be right in here. That's where we have that rapid intensification. That simply means that it's getting larger and it's getting a lot stronger as that central pressure is going to be dropping, and it does look like this could become a major hurricane as early as Sunday morning. As we get closer and closer to Labor Day, still a general consensus has this right along the Atlantic coast for Florida. This has it right around Cape Canaveral. A lot can change because look at how large this cone is. Right now, there's still a chance that this thing could shift another 200 miles once it's getting closer to the coast. So let's talk a little bit more about categories. Category 3, that is the beginning of major hurricane status. That's where you have devastating to catastrophic damage. Well, right now, there's still a lot of things that can change, but what's been amazing over the last 24 hours, this looked like it was going to be a little bit more westerly. It was going to interact with more of the Caribbean islands and maybe make Category 1 strength. Now it's been upgraded to possibly Category 3 in just 5 days from now. But again, a lot is going to change. The reason why it's going to rapidly intensify, not so much through right here, but those water temperatures getting up to 85, 86 degrees for miles, and it's right in here, this general stretch, that I think that we're going to see the biggest problems going from a 1 to a 2 to even a 3, again, which is going to be that major strength. Also, we have the right players as far as wind shear goes. Wind shear is going to be stronger winds aloft, cutting into the hurricane's general formation. I think this one is going to be very well organized by the time we get about Friday, about 2 days from now. We have a general consensus that the storm is going to be right about here, but then once it gets closer and closer to the Florida coast of the United States in general, that's where we're going to have an iffy problem as far as if it's going to turn a little bit further north or if it will stay in that generally westerly pattern. So let me show you. Here's a chance of 40 mile per hour winds. One thing that has changed from our earlier update, now we're looking at a likelihood that we're going to start to feel these at least tropical storm force winds along the Florida coast by about 5 p.m. on Sunday. So that's about 5 days from now. Looking at the chances of 75 mile per hour winds plus, that's hurricane strength, still on that low end, but that's going to change day by day. This is going to change. Keep that in mind. But we have a good agreement leading up to Saturday evening, Saturday night, that the storm is going to be generally off the coast. But watch what happens over the coming days. They start to split. Some have it curve up a little bit further north. That's going to be affecting more of the South Carolina coast. Others have direct impact into Florida before it starts to curve up through the central parts of Florida, and others straight across Florida where it could actually pick up more strength back out into the Gulf. So a lot can still happen. So that's why I'm saying just wait. 5 days from now puts it right off the coast. But we still have a chance that this could curve a little bit further north. How that affects us. In general, I think we're going to have cloud cover for this. Dorian is likely going to upwards in estimation double in size from where it is right now. We're going to have the cloud deck that's going to be affecting Charlotte for maybe your Labor Day. I would say Tuesday to Wednesday. But if it makes more of a northerly path, that's where we're going to see more tropical rains. That's going to be affecting the Charlotte area. And of course, anyone just outside of that cone of probability, especially for the South Carolina coast, has to watch this one very closely. We're still way too far out, but we are seeing more and more each run that potential that it could just linger off the coast. And the longer that it stays out in the Atlantic, the stronger it could be, or at least holding up to that Category 3 strength. So Dorian, just a couple of days ago, wasn't looking to be a major problem. Now it's only getting worse. And then, of course, we're going to be dealing with storm surge and a tremendous amount of rain with this as well. Looking one more time at the forecasted wind speeds, this is still, I would say, maybe about 250 miles off the coast at that point. This is Saturday, 2 p.m. I think some clouds are going to be felt just along the coast. And as for us, if you have any Labor Day plans, this is still way too far out. Likely for the Charlotte area, Labor Day is going to be just fine. We're going to have that cloud cover that's going to be across the area, but something that we definitely want to keep an eye on. So again, I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy. That's the most recent update that we have now on Hurricane Dorian. A lot is going to change. So anything that you see online as heading straight for the Carolinas, there's so many factors that can curve this back out. Keep it right in Florida, but no matter what, it could turn into a dangerous situation. So that's why we're going to continue to keep you updated here online every 3 hours. That's when the National Hurricane Center is going to be coming out with a brand new report. This one was at 2 o'clock. The next one is going to be at 5 p.m. I will be in alongside with your chief meteorologist, Brad Panovich. In the meantime, have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you soon.